How exactly do loot respawns work in 7 Days to Die? Find out right now in Saven's World. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Saven's World, the gaming channel for the average gamer by an average gamer. And today we are here to test exactly how loot respawning works in 7 Days to Die. There is a lot of speculation out there, a lot of rumors, a lot of information that I just don't know if it's correct. So I figured, hey, why not jump into 7 days and test it and find out exactly how loot respawning works. So what I have set up here is I have an old trash container here that we have set up, and I've got some wood blocks set up here to test exactly how far away from a container you have to be in order for the loot to respawn. That's the first thing we're going to test. I have loot respawn set to 5 days, and we're going to crank up the speed so that the days tick by faster, and we're going to see exactly how long or how far away you have to be in order for the loot to respawn. That's going to be the first test. But we're going to test everything loot spawn related. We're going to test, does it matter if you put something in the container? What happens if you run by the container? Like, let's say it's been 2 days and I'm just journeying by and I just run by it. I don't actually open it. I just run by it. Does that reset the loot respawn time? We'll find that out as well. Also, what if you put something in it? Can you run by it? We're going to test everything loot spawn related today to see exactly how the loot respawn works in 7 days. So the first thing we're going to figure out is exactly how far away you can be from the loot container and still have it respawn. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, search our trash here. And nothing. Okay, now we're going to park our happy butts at the end of this column of wood frames here, and we're just going to let the time pass. So I'm going to go ahead and crank up the speed. We're going to crank it all the way up to as high as it can go, and we will check the time. It's currently 8:04 in the morning, which means on day 6 at 8:04, that trash container should respawn, meaning the loot should respawn in the container, make it lootable again. So we're going to park our happy butts here. We're going to let the time tick away, and as soon as day 6 rolls around a little after 8 o'clock, we're going to check it again and see exactly if the loot actually does respawn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's the morning bell on day 6. Just a little bit of time needs to tick. There we go. Now it is 8:13 in the morning. So it's been 5 days. So the loot should respawn if we are far enough away. So we're going to crank the speed back down to 1. And we're going to check out our trash container here. And boom, look at that. It has respawned and it gave us a treasure map. Nice. Cool. Okay, so we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We were 8 blocks away from the container. So now we're going to remove one of the wood frames. We're going to stand 7 blocks away, and we're going to find out if 7 blocks will work. So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to change the speed here all the way up. Boop. There we go. We're going to come back on day 11, and we're going to check that container again. If we are too close, it will not have respawned. If we are far enough away, it will have respawned. So we're going to see if it will respawn if you are 7 blocks away. All right, so let's go ahead and let the time start ticking. I will see you folks on day 11 at about 8:30 in the morning. And there is the morning bell on day 11. We need to let it get closer to 8:30 here. That'll work. All right, 8:24 in the morning on day 11. So if we are far enough away, that should have reset. So we're going to go check our garbage here, and empty. So it did not reset. So that goes to show you that you have to be at least 8 blocks away from a container in order for it to reset. If you're any closer than that, it will not reset. So we're going to go ahead and pause it here. We're going to increase the speed again. Whoop. And we're going to check back in. You saw I replaced that 7th block, so we are now 8 blocks away again. We're going to let it tick over to day 16 at 8:30 in the morning, and we're going to recheck, and we should be, that the trash container should have reset because we should be far enough away. So we're going to go ahead and let the time tick down. I will be back on day 16 at 8:30 in the morning. We'll double check it and see if it reset. All right, there's the morning bell on day 16. Let's let it get closer to, that'll work. All right, 8:37. Now it should have respawned. So we'll crank down the speed here, and boom, there it is. It has respawned, and it gave us some junk. Okay, so now we know you have to be at least 8 blocks away from a container in order for it to respawn. Now what we're going to test is, okay, so you have to be eight blocks away, but what happens if you're just moseying down the street and you run by the container before that 5 day or the respawn time has completed? So let's say you have a respawn time of 5 days, and on day 3 you're running about and you happen to run past the container. Will that reset the loot respawn time? That's what we're going to test next. So what we're going to do is I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to let a couple of days pass. After those couple days pass, I'm going to slow it back down. I'll run by the loot container, or run back and forth, put myself back in the spot, go the extra days until day 21, and we will see if that loot respawns. So let's go ahead and speed it back up. Up to max. All right, we'll cut back in on, I think we'll cut back in on day 19, the morning of day 19, and then we'll see if we'll make our little pass by the trash container, and then we'll come back and speed it up to day 21, and we'll check it out and see if it had respawned. Alright, there's the morning bell on day 19. We're about to do our run past here. Bump down the speed again, and we're just going to run past it. We're not going to open it up. We're not going to look at it. Just going to run past it, and we're going to get back in position, speed it back up, and we need to go to day 21. And we will see if just running past a container resets the loot respawn. We will see in just a little bit. All right, morning of day 21. Let's go ahead and let it get closer to 8:30 here. That'll work. Okay, we'll bump the speed back down to 1. 8:40 in the morning. Let's see if running past does anything to the loot respawn. And look at that. It did not respawn. So running past the garbage in the middle of the respawn time does actually reset the respawn. So let's go ahead and we're going to have to, since I just ran over here anyway, let's go ahead and head back over to our safe spot 8 blocks away, and we're going to let it tick 5 more days just so we can make sure it respawns, and we're going to reset it for our next test here. So let's go ahead and speed this bad boy up, and we will come back on day 26. That is interesting though. So that goes to show you, you have to stay at least 8 blocks away from any container that you wish to re-loot. If you get closer than 8 blocks between the spawn time, it'll reset. So keep that in mind. That's a very valuable piece of information. All right, there is day 26. Morning just ticked over. We're going to get closer to, there we go, 8:41. That should work. And we'll bump the time back down. There we go. Let's check it out. And there it is. It has respawned. Awesome. So I'm going to take that. Now, one other thing that some people say works is if you have an empty container and you just place one of anything in that container, then you can actually run by the container and it will not affect the respawn time. So what we're going to do, we're going to bump it forward to day 29. I'm going to do my pass by this bad boy. Then we're going to run it forward to day 31. And we're going to check and see if this, putting something in the container, allows you to run past the container and still get it to respawn. So first thing we're going to do, let's bump up the speed here. Whoop, all the way up to the top, the max it can go. And we're going to let the time tick away. On day 29, I'm going to do my run pass. Since we already know that running past a container will reset the respawn time. So, but now we're going to test if it has something in it and you do that run by, does that affect that respawn? And there's the morning bell on day 29. We're going to let it tick ahead until just before 9 o'clock here. That'll work. Okay, slow it down. Let's go do our run by. Running by the garbage. We're not going to open it up. There's still something in it. And run back over here. Park our happy butts in our safe spot here. And we're going to speed it up again. Yoink, all the way up to max. We're going to move it forward to day 31 at about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to test and see, having something in the container, if that prevents the respawn time from being reset. Interested to find out. All right, it is the morning of day 31. We're going to let it tick a little closer to 9, little after 9 o'clock here. That should be okay. And let's get the speed back down to 1 here. All right, let's go check and see how our trash is looking. Okay, so your old stuff is still going to be in the trash. So take that out and it should, boom! Oh, look at that. It's relooted. You can loot it again. Okay, awesome. Well, that is some very useful knowledge. Okay, so I think we figured out exactly how loot containers work. You have to stand at least 8 blocks away. You have to be 8 blocks away. Unless, let's see here. Let's do one more test here. Let's put a frame in there. Okay, so there's something in it. Now, let's stand right next to it. Since running past didn't reset it, let's stand right next to it, and we're going to speed it up, whoop, all the way to the max. We're going to go to day 36, and we are going to see if you can stand right next to a loot container that has something in it. Will it respawn standing right next to it. This is interesting. Should be I'm excited to see if this actually works. There is the morning bell on day 36. We're going to let it tick up closer to a little after 9 o'clock, and that'll work. Closer to 9:30. That's okay. Okay, so tick it on down to the lowest speed. This should be interesting. We've been standing next to the old trash pile here for the past 5 days, but there's something in it. So we're going to loot it, look away, and oh, look at that. Oh, wow. What a result. That is amazing. Oh, wow. So let's go ahead and wrap up here, folks. Pretty awesome results. I think we figured out exactly how loot containers work. So empty loot containers, if they're empty, you have to be at least 8 blocks away in order for the loot to respawn. If at any time in that respawn period, you get closer than 8 blocks to an empty container, it'll reset that respawn timer. So let's say your timer's set at 5 days, and on day 3 you go running past it. That will reset it, and you'll have to wait another 5 days. However, major caveat, and something that you should all consider doing, if you put anything into a loot container, anything into a trash pile, or I'm assuming it works with all loot containers, but if you put anything in there, you can literally stand right next to the loot container, and it will not reset that respawn time. So throw a piece of scrap iron in there, throw a rock in there, throw a piece of clay, anything. Any single item, throw it in there. As long as there's something inside that loot container, you don't have to worry about resetting the respawn time. So big major tip. That's awesome information, and that's really useful information, because now anything that you want to re-loot down the road, throw a wood frame in it, throw a rock in it, throw anything you want. As long as there's something in there, then you don't have to worry about accidentally resetting the loot respawn timer. Oh, fascinating. Absolutely awesome information. I really wish I knew this earlier. So there you go. Now we know exactly how loot respawns work. Empty containers suck. If you get anywhere near them, they will reset the respawn. So the best thing to do is just throw anything inside that container that you want to re-loot. That way you don't have to worry about it. If you accidentally run by it, you don't have to worry about the respawn timer resetting. But that music right there means that this episode has come to an end. Saven here saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in Saven's World. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below and let me know, were you surprised by the results of today's test? I know I was. Let me know if it surprised you folks as well. Let me know down below. And remember, the average gamer is always king of the hill on the bell curve.